Hi, my name is Camille, and this is the new design for living. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's video, in which I want to talk to you about the new design for humanity. The old design model was built on a very specific principle and premise, and that is one of separation and duality. And it's a large topic because it covers everything that we've built our lives upon. That is why I'm trying to tackle each one of these areas one video at a time. In the new design model, everything is built upon the premise of oneness, the interconnectedness of all life. Now, this is scientifically proven. So it's not some made up idea. It's scientifically proven that back behind the appearance of everything and everyone, there is just one source, and that is pure energy. This is what quantum physics and the quantum field has helped us understand and even experience. So that right there, in and of itself, is a massive, fundamental, life-changing shift. To go from separation to unity, to go from duality to oneness. That is the difference between the old design model and the new design model. Now, the humanity in the old design model obviously came up out of that premise and the programming from that premise, which is that we were separate from everything and everyone, and that it's all outside of ourselves. And we have to live our lives by the golden rules, by which we will then get, acquire, and experience that which is outside of ourselves that we really desire for ourselves. All right? What does that produce in part? Exhaustion. I don't know a person, regardless of their age, that has said recently how tired they are. Why? Because we are not designed to keep up at that pace for as long as we have, let alone the fact that it's not working anymore. See, one of the things that happened during COVID and specifically the lockdown is we had time to look at our lives. A lot of us did not have a lot of distractions anymore. We came face to face with how we were living, what we were doing, and the kind of person we were. And for many of us, it was a game changer because we realized, wait a minute, I don't know that I really want to do that work anymore or be in that relationship anymore. I don't know that I really want to think that way anymore or be that kind of person. Radical change. And as the saying goes, the old skin cannot hold the new wine, which basically means that as we went through this process of contemplation and analysis, and as a result changed ourselves, how we think, how we live, our values, the principles upon which we want to build our lives and be who we are in the world, that forced a change in our outer world. This is why so many relationships have come to an end, why people are leaving their jobs, moving to different locations, because the outer environment that held the way we lived and how we believed life and we should be in it no longer matches who we have become. In the new design model, it's built on oneness and unity, as I said. Scientifically proven that back behind a grain of sand, a tree, or the galaxies, there's one thing happening: pure energy. And that pure energy turns out to be an intelligence that knows all because it is all. Don't believe me? Look at nature. Something intelligent knows exactly when to start changing the colors on a leaf, on a tree. Some intelligence knew the rose and yet also knew that it had to start as a seed in order for it to bloom. So the new design for humanity is exactly that. Nestled at the center of our own beingness is the new design. Unlike the old model that says it's outside of ourselves, we got to figure it out. We got to find the instructions. We got to find the authority or the person that's going to tell us how to get there. That's the old way. In the new design model, it's within us. In the new design model, we are the architect. Talk about the new design for humanity. We go from being a victim to things happening to us and we having no control or dominion over our experiences, our circumstances, our situations, to waking up to this greater truth that we're actually the creator. Co-create whatever idea works for you, but certainly the power is within us to have dominion over our thinking, our words, how we feel, our behavior, and what we are calling into and drawing into and manifesting into our lives. Now, here's the exciting part. And these analogies are so helpful for me, and I hope helpful for you too, because they're truthful and scientifically sound. And so we can really rest on them intellectually as our mind has a chance to unravel itself from the old way. Have a moment to understand, why is that collapsing? It's old, it's outdated, and it's a natural evolutionary condition of growth. It's called decay, right? And yet, what do we know? We know that the oak tree, in all its magnificence and glory, somehow is stuffed into an acorn. Now, if that doesn't signal an intelligence, I'm not sure what does. How is that even possible? But that is the beauty of the mystery of nature. That in fact the oak tree does begin in the acorn, and in fact the acorn has everything necessary within it for it to become the full expression of why it's here, the oak tree. Same thing with any sort of flower or vegetable. I love to use the rose. This intelligence that I speak about, that is provable by science, this mind that governs the universe, I always say to people, there are laws that when you understand them and learn how to work with them, they work it with and for you. You can't see the law of gravity, but if you stepped off a building, you'd have the experience of that law. We can't see the law of growth. No one has ever seen the thing by which a seed cracks open, is pulled through the density of the cold, dark dirt, and then becomes its optimal expression. Sure, you have time-lapse video and you're able to watch that process happen, but we don't see the thing that's causing that process to happen. But guess what? That doesn't stop millions of people every season from planting those seeds, because we know that there is something that does just that. And so to add to that beauty is this understanding of the caterpillar, the chrysalis, and the butterfly. When I wrote my book, The Confusion Experiment, I shared with you a 100-day meditation experiment by which I sat and meditated in the silence for 1 hour every day. Yes, as painful as it sounds. And as soon as I came out of that meditation, I took my phone and I recorded myself, never knowing what I was going to say. At the end of that 100 days, I watched all of those videos. It was a profound experience I'll never forget, because one of the things I realized is not only did I go through not just a transformation, but a complete metamorphosis. The woman, the person I was when I started that experiment was not the same person cellularly and everything else at the end. What I also realized is that by using my video to record my experience at the end of every meditation, I had basically put the camera in the chrysalis. I started off as the caterpillar, dragging myself along in the human experience based on what I knew and understood. And yet there was a moment when I clearly was entering the cocoon, when who I was no longer who I could be. I had taken that version of myself as far as I could. And I went into this chrysalis, this beautiful cocoon. And what do we know about the chrysalis? A couple of things. We know that if you slit the cocoon open with this perhaps desire to help the butterfly along, you in fact will kill the butterfly, because the butterfly needs that enclosed, tight place to strengthen its own wings for flight. It needs something hard to press up against to build its strength and to build its muscle. We're having that experience right now. We're in times right now that are giving us the opportunity to build the strength of our new wings so we can take flight above the chaos and the disillusion and the collapse of these old systems and structures that no longer work for us. What else do we know about this experience? We also know that if you slit open the cocoon, what would fall out would seemingly be like soup, like this gooey goop. And yet, what's inside that mess are the seeds of change, the seeds that will birth the butterfly. So that's why in some of these videos in which I'm talking about chaos, in the new design for living, we redefine chaos so that we can be better aligned with what it really is, which is really this sacred moment in which something is going to be birthed anew. And if you can reframe your relationship to chaos and invite it in and be more comfortable with the discomfort of being in chaos, you can make yourself more available to what seeds are in there for your new experience. And lastly, which is perhaps just the most beautiful thing I've ever learned about this particular topic, is that in the caterpillar are what's called imaginal cells. That means that the template, the cellular template, the cells themselves of the butterfly are already in the caterpillar. But in order for those cells to truly become their full expression and to have dominance over the expression that they're meant to be, the caterpillar has to die unto itself. It has to let go of the old version of itself. In the case of the caterpillar, literally, basically ingesting its own self so as to make room and be able to become the butterfly. And that all happens in the chrysalis. But why I bring this up to you is to help you understand that the new version of you, let alone the new version of humanity, is already within us. We don't have to go outside of ourselves to get it, work hard for it, hustle, get our share. No, that's all coming out of the old way of living and thinking, the programs of duality and separation, that there's an authority outside of ourselves that knows better than we. In the new design model, we realize, oh my goodness, we wake up to this powerful truth that not only is it within us, but we're the architect of our own lives. This is what's happening. This is why some of this incredible momentum and change is going on right now, because we have awakened to this great truth that we gave away our power to sources outside of ourselves, mostly because that's what the program told us to do. Because inherent in that giving away was the belief that those outside of us knew better than we did. Some of them had a white collar, some of them had a white jacket, right? Some of them have a American flag pin on their clothing. However, now we understand, oh my gosh, we take responsibility for giving our power away, and now we're taking it back. And anytime you take power out of something, what is naturally going to happen? It's going to collapse. It's going to stop working because the juice and the power that kept it propped up has been withdrawn, has been removed. This is a powerful, exciting time, especially when you realize, oh my gosh, you mean I can choose my own thoughts? Yeah, you do. But just like the seed has to be placed in soil that has been prepared for it, we have to see our minds as our soil. What are we putting in that? What kind of nutrients are we putting in that? Are we putting any nutrients at all? 3 months for me, I'm out of the news and the headlines. And let me tell you something, it's a game changer. I had to. I could not. My nervous system was not able to handle what I was seeing. And the stress that I was experiencing was getting to be too much because I'm a very compassionate and empathetic person. And I'm already living in the new design model of oneness and unity. And it's very difficult for me to not be able to affect change where it's needed. So I had to pull myself out of that and reconsider how I am taking care of my own soil, my mind and my heart, so that I can create an environment around me and most importantly within me that is going to give me the best possible opportunity for me to experience the greatest bloom of who I'm here to be. And that's what's true for you too. Now you may say to me, Camille, good, easy for you to say. Looks like, you're living in a house and things seem to be going fairly well for you. You've got clothes on and all of that, but you don't know my situation. That's true. I don't know your situation, but I know of your situation because we have all gone through, well, let me say it this way. I have gone through extremely difficult times. I went through my own death, all right? I have been aggressively and assertively healing myself from all of this so that I can be as clean a soil for myself, my ideas, my dreams, my reason for being here as possible. So I'd like you to consider today the new design for humanity and to ask yourself, what would I have to do to become a little bit more of my ideal self? What would I have to let go of? Who might I have to let go of in order to surround myself with a more ideal environment that would be more conducive to me being the fullest version of myself? What might I need to change? What habit? All of those kinds of questions are super helpful right now as we seek congruency between who we are, who we want to become, and the world that we live in, and ultimately create for ourselves and others. It's a big commitment, don't get me wrong, but it's happening right now. The train is at the station right now. I know you can feel it. It is stressful. We got this feeling of pressure because we're in the chrysalis. We're in the cocoon of massive, not just transformation, but a complete metamorphosis of who we know ourselves to be. When you leave duality and separation and step into unity, consciousness, and oneness, when you leave hate and judgment and step into love and compassion, when you leave the victim story and your role as victim and step into creator, these are massive, fundamental, serious changes that changes everything. And that's why this is such a powerful time. And there are so many people out there like me talking about this so that we can all help each other wake up out of the trance, be gentle with ourselves as we come to realize how we gave away our power to our spouses, our friends, our work, our family, society, as we begin to wake up and pull that power back where it originated from, as we begin to step out of victim consciousness and use forgiveness as a means by which we free ourselves, because we understand that when you live in oneness, you're both the perpetrator and the victim. And even beyond that, the next level of growth within that is they don't even exist. Perpetrator and victim, that doesn't even exist in the new design for living. It's a process by which we move into it. But once you're there, they don't even exist there. Why? Because we're all one. So the new design for humanity is here. It's at the center of your beingness. You have everything you need to become this new version of yourself. And everything around you is either fueling that optimal expression or suppressing it. And it's up to you right now to decide what you're going to do about that. You've got the power. You've got the tools. You've got everything you need to know, because you see, the old design model told us that we didn't. The old design model told us you need me, the thing outside of you, because you don't have it. And now we're realizing, oh my goodness, I actually do. What a glorious awakening this is. So if you're having this experience, I hope you feel less alone, and I hope this information has helped you. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, as always, in the comments below. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in. Take good care of yourself. It's okay to be selfish. In the old design model, that was a bad thing. In the new design model, we understand I got to put that oxygen mask on myself first, because unless I do, I'm not going to be any good for anybody else. And it turns out that the self does matter. So take super good care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.